have my seatbelt. I swear to God I do. But there is no cylinder wall. It's literally as thin as a piece of tinfoil. Apparently some people watch in the middle of the night, which kind of shocked me a little bit. And I've never seen that before, so you learn something new every day. Okay, the real reason that I chimed in here is because over there, over behind that yellow toolbox over there, are two very lovely 351 Clevelands. Welcome to Tin Horse Restoration, episode 9. Got a lot to do today, so we're gonna get right at it. Just gonna give you the quick rundown before we start. As you know, we got 3 projects on the go. We've got the 95 that we've swapped the motor in and doing some upgrades to. Trying to show you that you know, for a couple of $1,000, you get yourself a pretty cool little decent driver. We've got that. We've got the 71 convertible Marvin that I've owned since 1999. It's getting a full restoration that we haven't started yet, but we're getting all the pieces together for it and getting ready to get the work done. You saw recently I picked up floor pans, and we're going to be using those in Marvin needs a whole new floor. And then our third project is the 72 Shell that we're calling Bruno. And Bruno's going to be coming up in an episode very shortly, where we build a tip over jig and get it up on its side and get torn into it to start you know, addressing some of the problems from the accident that it was in, and start moving forward with getting it put back together. So today we're featuring the verdict on the 302. The 302 came from the parts car. It's going in Bruno, and or that was the intention, to put it in Bruno. Came with a tranny. You saw me in earlier videos haul it out of the parts car. Was no easy feat with the Sawzall. And today you're going to see the work that I did on the motor to get the final verdict as to whether we were going to be able to use that 302 or not. And the news is not good. So enjoy that. I'm also going to, on this edition, we've still got, you know, a lot of work to do at tearing apart the parts car. We may have cut it up, but we're addressing the pieces as they come off. And we've still got to find out if there's good and bad news with some of the other things, like the motor for the convertible top and that kind of stuff. So, you know, I got to get at that stuff. I've been falling behind with delays on a few things, and it's about time that I picked up the pace a little bit and we got to doing some more work. So that's where we're at. I bounce around from each job depending on the day and the weather and what's available and everything else. So you know, I hope you're following along. Like, tag, share, subscribe. You know, send the link for this video out to friends. We're trying to, you know, what we hit a milestone recently. We got 1,000 views in total, and we're getting there. It's slow. But like anything else that's new, there's you know, it's a learning curve for me. I've got some improvements to make in the way that I shoot these videos and the way I present it to you, and I'm trying to tailor the programming so it's something that you're more interested in. So you're going to see us get a lot more serious in the next little while. I'm still gonna be my silly, stupid self, but and I'm not gonna lose focus on family and everything else in life that is important. You're still gonna see drips and drabs of that, but today you're gonna get the verdict on the motor, and and we forge on. We're not gonna let I've got about 3 days worth of work into tearing that thing, getting it out of the car, tearing it apart, getting the tranny off to the transmission guy. That's something I don't have the skill level to attempt myself, so I've worked out a deal with somebody who does that for a living, and he's going to do the rebuild and put the new converter in for us. And but we don't need that for a while, so we dropped it off at the shop, and it's going to sit there until we're ready to move forward with that. Right now, the focus with the 95 is to get the motor back in, and then we've got some painting to do to get that car on the road and ready to go. Brakes, everything else are done in that car. So we're working on that. With the shell, the whole goal is to have that rolling, and front and rear suspension and brakes and everything in it. Get it rolling, get it all in primer, and shoot some paint on the inside and the underneath, so that we can do the long, difficult process of putting the car back together. But we got to get it rolling to get to that stage. So, and with Marvin, the hope is that we can get. I'm gonna try and utilize 2 shops. I'm gonna try and do some of the work on Bruno out at the farm paddock. One day I'll get that right, and probably do Marvin at home in the garage while we're once the 95's out of the garage. So anyway, let's get at it. What you're about to see is 3 days worth of work, all condensed up into a final last few hours, and well, didn't go so good. Kind of shocking, actually. I never had that happen before, and you learn something new every day. You really do. So enjoy. I'll be back. I'll chime in a little bit later and tell you where we're going next. Thank you for watching. It means a lot to me, and I got some really good feedback from an old friend today, and thanks, buddy. Meant a lot to me. So 10 horse forges ahead. Enjoy. All right, we're back at the block. We're gonna do a little more honing. We're not there yet. So the plan is to hone until we get a clean cylinder wall, and then measure, and then it's either going to the dump, the scrapyard, or we're gonna build it. And so I gotta get at it. Okay, we're using a 3-stone hone here. They work much better than the ball type. If any of you have seen them, it's the balls attached to the longer wires. They just don't. They don't do the job as well as the 3 stones. Will cut flat and remove the imperfections in a nice circle. Okay, let's give her a little cleaner and see what's going on here. I'm just using brake clean just to break up the grease. Well, we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. I've got no lips. But I got a funny spot right there. This edge. Interesting. Let's go a tiny bit more before we measure. I'm using a rust remover to cut it, and then I'm coming in with the brake clean afterwards to clean out the residue. And you want to keep cleaning that residue out. You don't want it to let it build up. It'll help with, giving it a nice clean cut. Almost there. We've almost got a clean cylinder wall. So we do have a little nick in this side. But I'm not going to panic over that. There's nothing to write home about. I'm still having a problem along this left side of it. We're getting close. We're getting really close. I'm trying to go up and down so that I get a nice even removal. But the problem is at the top, right? So we're trying to work it. It's important to do that up and down motion, to keep that cross hatching on a 45-degree angle compared to the cylinder wall, instead of staying in one spot where you're just spinning around and around and leaving a horizontal marks that go around in a circle. And what you want to do is you want to work from the bottom up, because you're much rounder and truer at the bottom than you are at the top. The load side of the rings and the piston pushing down up close to the combustion chamber is going to wear out one side and the other side. Think of it as north-south of the circle as opposed to east-west of the circle. So if you work it from the bottom where those rings aren't making those wear patterns, you'll draw that up as you go up and down, and you have to spend enough time to get whatever you're looking to remove at the top, but you don't want it to be larger at the top than it is at the bottom. So you've got to focus your time on the bottom. Well, got a tiny little bit of marking just on this side. There's 30 thou right there. We've definitely got a taper at the top, but I have to wedge 30 thou in. So That tells me we're under. Definitely under. We're nowhere near on that one. So let's try going in from the bottom. Let's see where we are underneath. Nowhere near 30 thou on the bottom. All right. You can see here that I start working the bottom a little more because we definitely have a taper. We're not even near 30 thou on the bottom, but we're getting close to it on the top. So I want to take a little bit more off the bottom and try and work it that way. Now remember, if I put this, if I took this to a machine shop and had a machine shop, finish to this, they would come in there and they would mill out those cylinders and they'd be perfect. But that's not the goal here. This is a hobby. This is a driver. We're not trying to build a perfect motor. What we're trying to do is build something that's sound and reliable and, is going to work. All right, so before we go honing anymore, because we're still in the game. That's the way I'm going to look at it. Call me crazy. But I got to clean this whole block up so that we're dealing with something that's a little cleaner than this. I've got rust remover in the water jackets right now soaking. I'm going to clean up the outside, and then I'm going to take pressure washer to it and get it good and clean, and then we're going to hone up the rest of the cylinders and see where we're at. So let me work this a little. So this is a little aggressive, but we're only using it to clean up the gasket. We have to be very careful. We don't want to, get this thing too far out of flat because we're going to go at it with a hand file to flatten her out. We're doing this on the cheap. No endless bottomless pit of machining here. Okay, so there was the cylinder we were working on. There's what's left, but if you look down at the bottom, there's still some tiny little bit down there, and I have some room to work. I have to force the 30 over caliper in there, in from the bottom to get it to fit. So this is definitely our worst one because the piston was all the way down when the water got in there. So these rust marks go deep, but we got 30 thou to play with back here. This is definitely an untouched motor. So, is that enough to get rid of that? None of that seems really deep. So we're gonna see. Anyway, I've cleaned up the surface on the top here. I've cleaned up the front, the gasket. I've removed the gasket there. I got the worst of it. I don't want to be too aggressive with the wire wheel, but I gotta clean the underneath and the other end and the other side. And so when I get it all cleaned up and ready for the pressure washer, because we got to get these empty, because that's an ugly amount of stuff in there. I've been spraying it with rust remover, so there's things going on in there. That's why it's turning black. And but I gotta get the pressure washer nozzle right down in there and see what I can blow out of there. And we'll just keep at her until we get her cleaned up and as close as we can to what we think is right. And then we're gonna do a final evaluation before we either send it to the scrapyard or end up using it. Like I said, we're building a stock motor here. We're building a driver. So, and we're trying to do it on an extreme budget. So to achieve that, we're going to have to make some compromises. And, maybe we won't have a perfect motor. But as long as it is mechanically sound and it runs and it doesn't burn a lot of oil, we can do this really, really cheap. And that's the whole plan here, to have a really solid, good-looking car at a very, very reasonable price. That's what we're after. And if some point, 2, 3, 4 years down the road, we're ready to put another motor in this, then we'll do that. But we're going to drive it and we're going to enjoy it while we can. And if we can save this and save everything else that came with it, I think we're doing okay. I can pick up a reasonable kit, with pistons and a cam and everything for for about $800 with the tax in. So that would be a really cheap motor build, really cheap. And I've got a plethora of parts that I already have stored. So we'll see. Now, if you're asking yourself, Colin, as I'm cleaning up the side here, why haven't you knocked the freeze plugs out? Well, for now, I'm trying to keep the rust remover inside. So the less holes I have in this thing, the better. So I'm just, like I said, just cleaning up all the loose stuff so that we can actually work on this thing. Gives me a better idea. I'm doing a little evaluation and looking for any major problems. There's my numbers. So it's a D2, which is a 72, which fits for the car that it came out of. So I feel pretty good that we've got the original motor. Once I've given this a good, we're gonna a lot more rust remover on it once I get the loose stuff all cleaned off, and then we'll knock the freeze plugs out and really get in there with the pressure washer after the fact. But for now, I'm just gonna keep at her. There's a really good look-see at that cylinder that I just cleaned. And like I said, I've got a little bit more to go, but I don't think we've got far to go to clean the rest of that out. Honestly, when I run my nail across that, I don't feel a lip. So we're dealing in thousandths now. And if you can see right here, the lip's gone. There's nothing there. Nothing. That's not nail catching there. So I feel pretty good about this. I keep saying that, I know. I shouldn't say that because there's probably some of you watching this are probably laughing at me going, what is this idiot trying to do saving this piece of crap? But like I said, it's here. It's just my time. It's worth doing a complete, thorough evaluation. And if I put a lot of sweat equity into it and it turns out that it's no good, then it's no good. It's not the end of the world. It hasn't cost me anything. What's going to cost me money is if I, take this in and spend $2,000 having the thing all proper. He wants $300 to clean it. Then he wants $100 a cylinder to bore it out. And that's just doing the cylinder wells. That's not checking the crank or putting cam bearings in or anything else. So, we're over $1,000. And by the time we're done, we're looking at probably somewhere between $1,500 and $1,800. And I've looked around to see if I can get somebody to do it cheaper than that. And that's not even buying the kit to put it back together, the new parts and everything else. This is, I can easily put the sweat equity into this, clean it all, get it all ready to go, and drop it off to him, give him $100, and tell him to do a quick bore check just to see if it's junk or not. If I went too far or whatever. But I don't have a lot of experience. I don't have a lot of talent and knowledge in doing this. But, what am I dealing with? I'm not wrecking a perfectly good block. I'm trying to save something that most people wouldn't even bother working with. So, and remember, we're building a runner. This is just have some fun. I'm trying to prove to you that you can go on Marketplace, pick up a few things, a shell, a parts car for next to nothing. I've got hardly any money in this at all. And if you've been watching the videos, you'll see that I on this video, I think I put the haul at the beginning of the video. I put the haul that we got on the parts and how we picked up thousands of dollars worth of parts for a couple of $100. It is $500 worth of shipping alone in those parts that I picked up. You can do this. It's not too late to build a classic. I watched a YouTube video yesterday, and I'm not going to go on a rant, I promise, but I watched a YouTube video where the guy bought a car at auction for $4,700, and it was a 73 Mach, and he's going, I got a great deal. It wasn't running. It had 4 flat tires. Everything was locked up. And I'm thinking, you pay $4,700 US for that. I'm going to build my whole car for that. So it's, you got to be smart. You got to be hungry. You got to be ready to pounce. And you can do all this with a 40-hour-a-week job. I'm proving that. Okay? Is it going to take a while? Yeah, it's going to take a while. Sure it is. It's going to take me a long time. But, I'm not going to give up. And if I get to the point where this block is no good, which I'm sure a lot of you are laughing, going, why, don't waste your time, I'm sure it's a piece of crap. What have I spent? I've spent nothing but time. And I got lots of time, right? There's no agenda for having this finished. I got time. So we're going to keep moving forward, and we'll see how things go. Okay, I just noticed something I'm going to check. And I'll get back to you. Okay, I just wanted to show you here because the light's pretty good in the reflection here. There's the cylinder I did. And there's the other ones. This one clearly the one that's the biggest problem. So anyway, I got the block all kind of cleaned up. I've pulled the gasket off the oil pan here, mount, and getting close to, I've cleaned up the front a little bit. I'm not going to do the back right now because it's not that bad. It's got paint on it. And, you know, it's mounted. It'll just be a pain in the ass. So, I don't know. I'm not, I know I keep saying it, but I'm not there yet. I'm not willing to give up. Call me a diehard, but if anybody knows what's going on here with those, drop them in the comments. That's a That's a 0142. I don't know if that's the assembly. I don't know what that is. Anyway, let's see if we can get these two pesky bolts out. And then we have, for broken bolts, we have 1, 2. No, that's not a broken one, sorry. 1, 2. That one's out. 3, 4. That one's out. Out. 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8 I gotta drill. But now that the gasket's off, we got a lip on every one of them. These ones too. So, except that one. That one's buried. That might be the only one we have to drill out. And we might only have to do a partial drill. And you'll see when I get to that point what I'm saying. But I think we can weld. We can drill a hole in a piece of flat bar, weld these through the hole, and turn them out. That's my next step. So I got a bunch of stuff to do. Here's another. That's a 6142. That might be a C142, 6142. I don't know. I wonder if that's the guy who assembled or something. Or is that a date for when it was assembled? I don't know. Anyway. Well, the party's over. Look what turned up. That is a crack in the block. And the funny thing is, this is at the front, and I didn't see this when I popped the cylinders. So it must have been a crack that rusted and had a weak wall. And when I went in there, I had a little metal rod that I was poking down through here to clean them out, and it just started running out of the side. You can see the heavy pitting and the damage on the bottom of this one. So that's it. We now have a giant paperweight, and I spent all of 2.5 days getting to this stage, but it is what it is. And you know, so we took one on the chin. We may have lost the round, but we're not going to lose the fight. And we're going to keep at it, and we're going to go hunting for another 302. But yeah, it's definitely junk. I'm not sleeving these. You know, that's way too expensive, and we're not dealing with a rare motor here, so and we don't care about matching numbers. So we do what we do. We're building a driver, a really nice one, and look at the gunk that came out of that. Anyway, this is officially history. And you know what's nice about it? I spent, I don't know, about an hour and a half, 2 hours here this morning, gone, and I got about a day and a half, you know, into tearing it all apart. So the good thing is that I'm not spending any more time on it. I'm not spending any money on it, getting it washed or anything to have it evaluated, because you had to put that in the washer and that blasted that hole clean through. I'm shocked that I didn't see it already, but you know, it must have been held together with rust and had a glaze over it. But anyway, we can say goodbye to our 302 and back to Marketplace so that we can find a new one. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to be trying to be funny right now, but it was a bit of a shot to the jaw. So, but hey, I was prepared. So anyway, we are going to move on. We'll talk to you in a bit. Well, kind of a shame. She was cleaning up nice. Anyway, that's what it is. All right, well, there you have it. The verdict is in on the 302. She's a giant paperweight. That's about it. So she'll go in the scrap pile, and we'll have to take her back and salvage what we can. Make a little bit of money that we can put down on the car. We're here at the farm, at the paddock, and we're going to be building a tip over jig. We're going to bolt through where the bumper goes here on both sides. That's our cross beam in our leg. And I came here tonight to take some measurements and to go back and make a little drawing, buy the materials I need, and come back. The whole goal here is to turn this car up on its side for less than $150. We're gonna have to tip the car up, I'm guessing at least 7 feet. I'm looking forward to showing this to you, and it'd be nice to get this thing up on its side.